And
hello and welcome to a Gypsy's Kiss. It's Humpday Hoedown, and I'm the magical treasure princess and life coach to the rich and famous Shelley Carney.
And why is my mic so far? Hello, there we go. And I'm Toby Younis, Administrative Assistant of the Magical Treasure Princess and her Chief of Security. Stay back 6 feet and make sure you're wearing a mask, brothers and sisters, because it's the dismal tide. I tell you, the dismal tide. Got a great show for you tonight. We got emails to read, got some text messages. We've got some, Wednesday giveaway. You know where to go. If you don't know where to go, well, I'm not going to tell you. And we have a very special announcement, so stick with us. Humpday, indeed, Humpday, isn't it?
Humpday.
Day. Wow, that is a
Humpday.
bright orange fluorescent shirt, isn't it? So let's do this first.
Housekeeping, you want those?
Who's got two thumbs and can point at himself?
Who's got two thumbs and knows where he's going? This guy. Make sure that before you leave tonight, you do this a favor of liking our video. YouTube likes when you like our video. The MTP, Magical Treasure Princess, loves it when you like our video. Share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your business associates, and the entirety of your social network so that we can
grow the channel.
And finally, if you are not already a subscriber, smash down on that subscribe button and then ring the notifications bell. So that when we start a live stream, you'll be immediately informed. And that's how these things work, ladies and gentlemen, even though it's the dismal tide. The dismal.
Oh, just stop it.
Okay.
Nobody wants to hear that from you anymore.
Not anymore. No, it's kind of getting old, isn't it?
Yes.
I'll get some new ones.
Got old.
We're gonna play
long
some
time
ones.
ago.
Yeah. Well, I just started it a couple of weeks ago.
It's already old. It was old the first time you said it.
Yeah. So a couple of things. I'm going to turn you down because you're hot.
I know I'm
you're
hot.
Not only hot, but you're loud.
I'm a hot little princess.
So let's see. Where do we start? Let's start by saying how to reach out to us. You can contact us in a variety of ways tonight. First of all, if you want to reach out to us in the chat room, make sure you precede our name, Gypsy's Kiss, with an @ sign. And that way, when it scrolls by, it'll be highlighted in the chat room. We'll be able to see it and respond to your question. If it's just a comment, you don't have to worry about it. Just with your questions. If you really want to get our attention, send a text message to 202-815-1171. That's the number right below. Number. 202-815-1171. Later on, we'll open up that phone line if you'd like us to call you. If you want to talk about Forest Fenn's treasure and all the mysterious things that have been happening this week. Lots of woo-woo. Yeah. If you want to talk about that, send me a text message and tell me to call you, and I will call you, and that way you don't have to wait in the queue. See how Hooli has done that? I'd like to say thank you to our moderators. They include Hooli, the Sassy 1962, LR, K-Pro, Colorado, and his better half, Sarah Rock. So you'll see them in here. They're the people with the big blue wrenches. They maintain order
Welcome,
around here
welcome to the
and
Big
prevent
Blue Ranch.
any rioting or other disturbances. So tonight is Wednesday night. It's giveaway night, and for our giveaway tonight, we have one of 3D Bronze's Forrest Fenn treasure chest, plastic treasure chest. Actually, they're 3D printed. Oh, well, look at this. There's a little surprise. I'm going to have to give this away too because it was in here. We have one of our rooster coins. And on the back you'll see that it has the Gypsy Kiss logo. So that was also done by 3D Bronze. So tonight's giveaway, we'll give it away around, give it away now. We'll give it away around 8 o'clock. So if you want to be entered into the drawing, go to our list of videos and find the one that says comment
on this video.
So comment on that video.
What was the picture of it?
It was the same picture. It's the one of you and Kevin's up there at the Borrego campground.
So yeah, there you go. See, Kevin.
So Kevin.
Kevin.
So go to the video whose title is comment on this video. Make a comment there so you can be included in the drawing for this Forrest Fenn replica treasure chest done by 3D Bronze along with one of our rooster coins. Okay? We'll give that away sometime after 8 o'clock. So we got some emails to read, and we have a new, I'm going to call him a nemesis, because he announced in one of his previous emails that he's going to do this every week.
Interesting.
Until he gets all his questions answered.
Well, that's what
we do.
Email is for.
All right. But we do have a special announcement to make to let you know. So as you know, we put a lot of work into these things. We're also putting a lot of work into our new channel and Business Sales Leaders Institute. And they are becoming overwhelming in addition to us going out and looking for the treasure. So something had to give, and what's had to give is AGK. So from this Wednesday forward, we will only be having Wednesday shows. We will not be doing shows anymore on Fridays or Saturdays unless something dramatic happens. I mean, if something really dramatic happens, like someone finds a treasure, we'll have a special show. But
Blvd.
Big Blvd. Oh, we have an email
sending
from
us a package as well.
Yeah, he said it should be here Friday.
Very cool.
He said the postage was amazing. But I know that
prohibitive
because I send out packages every. I package them on
we
Saturday,
just had our big monthly drawing in the member vault last night, so we've got a whole bunch of stuff to send
There's going to be about $50 worth of shipping going out this weekend.
Yeah.
So I just want to make you guys aware. You'll see us from now on Wednesday. That'll free up your Friday nights and your Saturday nights, but we'll be here every Wednesday, and we're going to start leaning a little bit more to content. In addition to that, of course, Shelley will be making her Monday videos. Why don't you tell them about your most recent one?
Well, you mean the one that came out last Monday or the one coming out next Monday?
The one that's coming out next Monday.
Okay, next Monday. It's pretty interesting. It's not a word from the poem, but it is a word that Forrest Fenn uses a lot in the book. And when he's talking about art, furniture, history, artifacts. Yeah, he uses this word a lot. There are things in the chest that contain this word, and so it's kind of interesting to put all these quotes together that contain this word, not just from things he said, but there's so many of them in all three books as well. So I think it's an important word, and I do hope that you'll check it out on Monday and see what it is.
Yeah. Monday afternoon it'll release at 5 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. K-Pro's in the room. Hi, K-Pro. She's another one of our moderators. Of course, you know, K-Pro and her partner, Mike, have their own YouTube channels. K-Pro on Thor, The Hint of Riches, and Mike on Cow Lasers, or Cow Lazars, depending on how you want to say it. So I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about to this point. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
All right. So if you have any questions about the decision for us, now we're going to be doing a lot of other things. For example, at the end of this month, we're going to be conducting a webinar entitled 12 unique ways to make money on the internet.
Highly effective ways.
Highly effective ways to make money on the internet. So we're going to be doing that webinar. We also have an ebook that goes along with it. So we'll on the community page, we'll add the landing page that you go to if you want to register for that webinar. We're also going to be starting a series of monthly webinars on the search, and they're going to be entitled What We've Learned About Searching for Forrest Fenn's Treasure. It's our kind of perspective on what we've learned. And the first one is the usefulness of technology. And we're going to share with you, I think that one's July 11th. The previous weekend is, so we're doing one on the 27th. The next weekend is the July 4th weekend. The weekend after that, we're going to be doing the first of the Forrest Fenn webinars in the what is it? The header title is What We've Learned About Searching for the Forrest Fenn Treasure, and then the subtitle will change from webinar to webinar. These are live webinars done on Zoom. You'll be able to chat. You'll be able to register. You'll be able to ask questions. We'll open up the phone lines. And the first one is all the technology we use from InReach all the way to the drone. So we'll talk about that, how we use it, why we use it, and what benefits there are to that. Okay, so we're going to be doing some different things. The other thing that you should know is that one of the things that we are doing is we're focusing more on our member vault. We want to grow that because there's just so much interaction in there. Last night we had a conversation about the facts we knew about the poem, and it's amazing how much we know about the poem, not just that it has 9 clues and 9 sentences, and they're all facts based on either Fenn having written these words or spoken these words. And on Thursday night's show, we're going to be listening to another one of...
meeting. It's not a show. It's a
I'm
meeting.
sorry. That's right. On Thursday night's meeting, we're going to be listening to another one of Fenn's interviews, and then the conversation will result from that interview. We're doing those on Thursdays now. Next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about what we know. So last night was what we know about the poem as fact. Next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about what we know about the treasure as fact. For example, it's not in a graveyard. Well, I'm going to address this question here that we got from our friend, from our new friend. In addition to that, if you want to join the member vault, if you think it would be good to join the member vault, let us. This would be a good time to do it because on July 1st, the price goes up from $25 a month to $35 a month. So if you want to join, June would be a good time to do it.
Get in before the price hike.
Yeah, get in.
Because then you're grandfathered into the lower price.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too is if you get in at the lower price, you stay at the lower price. The price doesn't go up for you.
And that's it at gypsykiss.com.
I'm scrolling right ahead.
Yeah. All right.
I added a little rum to my Coke, and I just realized,
Yeah, that's why I said earlier. So, are we ready for emails?
Yes, let's do emails.
Okie doke.
Boom. So, are you going to read the one from? Okay. So, I do want to point out this person. I was going to say gentleman, but I don't know that. So this person wrote 3 emails since Saturday, and the first one said, and it wasn't in a very threat. It wasn't a threat. It was simply the statement of fact. I just got into the search. There's much more I want to know. I can't go through all your videos. But which is logical. He said, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sending you questions via email. I'd appreciate if you answer them. I wrote back and I said, if I can answer them by directing you to a video, I'd prefer to do that so that we're both working together. But then he followed up with 2 emails, and I thought, well, there's no reason. He's not the only one that hasn't heard our responses to it. It might be in in all our benefits to hear us answer these questions again. So whatever he sends, I'm going to put them right at the top of the email list, and I'm going to ask them first. Big Blvd, there isn't an annual rate because we want to give people the opportunity to get out. If you don't like it, it's a subscription. You sign up for a subscription using PayPal, and if you don't like it, you can stop the subscription. So, but we strongly recommend that if you join, there's a whole archive of all the shows that we've done, all the materials that we've created, all the videos that have been created for the ebook that we put on there. So, and you can go on there, and if you decide that's not for you, then it costs you $25, and you can cancel your subscription after that. So, it's a lot easier to do it month by month because we have people that sign up, and then we don't see them for 3 months. And then we never see them. They never show up for meetings. So it's not like they can say, oh, it was terrible. I didn't have a good time because we never see them. And then they just cancel their subscription. So you don't have to be there every meeting. The meetings are Tuesday and Thursday nights.
But you're missing a lot of fun if you don't show up.
It really is a lot of fun because it's Zoom. We're not on YouTube. We're on Zoom. And it's very interactive. And we always have a topic.
Everybody has a chance to talk about whatever they want to say.
Right.
But you don't have to talk either.
We have a topic for the night, and we discuss the topic, or we listen to something that stimulates a conversation, and then we talk about it for a couple of hours. So it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's go with emails.
All right. This is from Curious in Wyoming.
So this is the guy I was talking.
Maybe it's a cat.
This is the
YouTube.
person. So Curious, just for the sake of clarity, I'd appreciate it if you are you male or female? So when I refer to you, I can say he or she.
All right. Dear Shelley and Toby, Mr. Fenn has said that the treasure is above 5,000 feet and below 10,200 feet. In one of your older videos, you said it was between 7,400 feet and 7,800 feet. Please explain.
Oh, damn it. This is where I wish I had my whiteboard.
You do?
Well, but it isn't plugged in. Okay, so let me address this in a couple of ways. So Fenn has said that the treasure is above 5,000 feet and 10,200 feet. Neither of which I think are that helpful, but we can assume that that it's below 10,200 feet because above that you're out of the tree line and you're gasping for breath if you're a flatlander. So then I had some conclusions. I did some work on that with some friends of mine from Washington, and I asked them to listen to that the audio from the video from the Today Show, where he said it was 5, and he stutters. He says the treasure is below 7,000, and there's invisible ellipses, ... 5,000 feet. So he started to say 7,000 feet, and then he changed it to 5,000, which is what he probably wanted to say, but something happened in his brain. Something triggered in his brain. So I sent it to them, and I said, what do you think? And I told them, and they said, well, the treasure is not above 5,000 feet. It's above 7,000 feet, below 10,200. So he averaged that out, the 5,200. That puts it at the average between 5,000 was, let me see, I can't do this in my head, 5,200 divided by 2 is 2,500 plus 2,500 plus 2,600. So I concluded from that conversation that the treasure was 200 feet either side of 7,600 feet. That was what I was talking about, right? So that it's someplace between 7,400 and 7,800 feet. Well, I had kind of an insight that I wanted to share with you as we've been going to this location north of Santa Fe recently. And that is the 5,000 feet is a complete, the 5,000 foot number is a complete head fake. And here's why. Fenn lives at 7,000 feet, right? So the likelihood of him having hidden a treasure below 7,000 feet, I believe, is slim to none. And let me explain to you why. I'm going to show you a picture from something we were doing this weekend, right? We were out on the Quemado again. And let me see. I think you took the picture. So this is a photo from Shelley's iPhone. And I'm going to explain to you why I think we can conclude the treasure is Oh, that's last week's. Sorry.
Yeah, it's last week's.
It's last week's. I need to get to the desktop again. Quemado 0530. Okay. So that's your phone, and these are your pictures. Let me show you. So I'm going to do a screenshot. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. So this is a picture that Shelley shot when we were at the borderline of the Nuestra Señora del Rosario y Santiago.
No, you see San Fernando and Santiago.
San Fernando y Santiago. And there's something else.
Something about Camado.
Yeah.
But it's not on
Del Rosario, Santiago, land grant.
Land grant.
So this land grant that we were going to, when Shelley took this picture, I did my watch has an altimeter on it, and I did an altimeter check. This sign is at 6,980 feet. And what's important about that is if you look at the foliage and kind of how it's structured, this is what is referred to as high desert. It is high desert at 7,000 feet. And Fenn has said, if you're looking for the treasure in the desert, you're looking in the wrong place. And he didn't mean desert like the sands around, like the areas around Las Vegas, for example, Las Vegas, Nevada, where there are deserts with dry sands, etc. He's talking about the high desert. And the reason is there's no pines at this level. There's pinon trees, as you can see in the background, but there's no pines here. Santa Fe, there's lots of cactus. And there's shrubbery. You can see sage over here. You can see mesquite, but there's no pine trees here in this area at 7,000 feet, and it's referred to as high desert. That's where Fenn lives, at 7,000 feet. So I think we can comfortably disagree with Fenn that when he says the treasure, well, I don't know that we're necessarily disagreeing with him. We're eliminating the 2,000 feet between 5,000 and 7,000. I am comfortable in saying to you, it is my strong opinion that the treasure is above 7,000 feet. Now, that changes that algorithm that I made last time. So the difference between 7,000 and 10,200 is 3,200. Half of that is 1,500 plus 100, 1,600 feet. So you add that, it's 8,600 feet. The mean between 7,000 or the average, I guess, between 7,000 and 10,200 makes it 8,600 feet. So I'm going to predict that the treasure is at an altitude between 8,400 feet and 8,800 feet. And that's because he's not going to hide a treasure lower than his home. It doesn't make sense. And secondly, if you're at 7,000 feet in New Mexico and most of the other, Wyoming has a lot of this. Colorado has some of this, but it's way out in the eastern slope. But it's high desert. 7,000 feet is high desert. It's not the mountains. Certainly not the mountains north of Santa Fe. It's the high desert north of Santa Fe. And see, this was the day we went out. I guess we could do that. Oh, no, let's do the emails first. I'll come back. We'll come back and show you some of the pictures we took from this weekend.
Okay. Is that enough for that?
Yes. So...
yes
curious
or
in
no?
well, let me finish it. So curious in Wyoming, it is our opinion that the treasure is someplace between 7,000 and 10,200 feet, the mean being 8,600 feet. And I think we're comfortable in also saying that the treasure is 400 feet either side, or 200 feet either side of 8,600 feet. So
possibly.
Well, it said it's our opinion.
We talked about how high we were up in the top of that mountain when we were looking for the trail.
9,600. No, 90. Yeah, 9,600.
Yeah. So, and also that Forrest Fenn had said something at Collected Works when he was in 2013 when he was doing the book signing or promo for his book Too Far to Walk, and he said it's not on top of a mountain.
Right.
It might be near the top of a mountain.
Right, and we've got to go.
Then
that we've got
people have speculated that meant that it could be close to 10,000 feet.
Right. No, there are tops of mountains at 9,600 feet around here. and you're in Ponderosa. Well, I'll show you the pictures here in just a bit.
All right, moving on to why New Mexico? Why not the other states? In the past, you've said you
This
believe
is from the same person, by the way.
that the treasure is in New Mexico, but I've never heard your explanation as to why you haven't searched other states. Please explain your commitment to New Mexico.
So first of all, we have searched other states. We've searched in Colorado, we've searched in Wyoming, and we've searched in Montana, and we've searched in Yellowstone. So we've searched in the other areas as well. But the reason we strongly believe it's in New Mexico, well, there's a list of reasons. Let me start with the beginning. In the Thrill of the Chase, Fenn says, I hid it somewhere in the mountains north of Santa Fe. So in the example I use, forgive me, if I were to kidnap your cat and send you a message and tell you that your cat is tied up in the mountains north of Santa Fe, would you go looking for your cat in Wyoming? The answer is no, you wouldn't, right?
How do you know this isn't a cat? You're probably upsetting the kitty cat.
Well, it's kind of worried about we could be upsetting the kitty cat. So that's the first thing. The second thing is when this originally took place, Forrest Fenn published 1,000 copies of The Thrill of the Chase. He put it in one location, Collected Works bookstore, and it sold out within a few months. The entire thing sold out within a few months because it was purchased by all his friends, which is exactly what he wanted to do. So all his friends at the time were in Santa Fe. The likelihood of him making a big deal, there were some that were outside Santa Fe, but the likelihood of him making a big deal with 1,000 books about a treasure that he hid up in Wyoming when he was trying to just share it with his friends in Santa Fe, he never expected it to get this big. It didn't get big until, what's her name, Margie Goldsmith wrote the article that appeared in Hemisphere magazine, and then it went viral. Up until that time, it was a local event. So the people that bought his book were all people that he knew in Santa Fe, for the most part, that would buy his book and that would go looking in the mountains north of Santa Fe. So that was the second thing. The third thing is when you consider Fenn's life. He has been, in 1972, he made a decision to move from Lubbock, someplace where he felt like he had the best chance of making a living. So he didn't move to Yellowstone, he didn't move to Cody, he didn't move to Colorado Springs. He moved to Santa Fe. He has been there since then. Now, he does have an appreciation and love of Yellowstone, but if you add up all the time prior to his joining the Air Force, he said that he was in Yellowstone every summer, June, July, and August, for the 22 years before he joined the Air Force, except for 1 year. And that 1 year was the year his father went on to pursue his master's degree, so they didn't go to Yellowstone. So if you add up 21 years at 3 months, that's 63 months. He spent less than 5 years of his life, or just over 5 years of his life in Yellowstone. He has spent nearly 50 years of his life in New Mexico. In addition to that, in 1988, he was selling his, before he was diagnosed with cancer, he was selling his art gallery, deciding that he knew he could make enough to retire comfortably and provide for his family the rest of his life. He didn't, and he did get cancer, but he didn't move anyplace. He stayed right here in Santa Fe. It means he's been in Santa Fe since getting sick. That was 1988. That's 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago. So one has to ask yourself, for somebody who loved Yellowstone enough to hide a treasure there, then why didn't he go there? If he loved it that much, why didn't he go there? We think he has a connection. He's umbilically connected to Santa Fe. Finally, if you look at Yellowstone, Yellowstone is the most trafficked national park in the world, not just in the United States, in the world. It's the #1 trafficked national park in the world. You go up to some of these locations that we go in New Mexico, and it's isolated. There is no traffic. We're lucky to see another truck or two whenever we're searching, whether it's Quemado or the Rio de los Pinos. More traffic on Cimarron, but the places that we go aren't anywhere, you can't even compare them to Yellowstone. They're isolated, and they're what's the other word that I'm looking for? Lonesome? So anyway, to answer your question, that's why we think it's in New Mexico. It is our opinion. We don't have the treasure. We don't know
Did
where
you
the
mention the whole
treasure.
didn't discover the Rockies until 2013?
Yeah. So that was the other thing is Forrest never mentioned the Rocky Mountains until 2013 when he was releasing Too Far to Walk, and the map was in the map with the Rocky Mountains was in there. Prior to that, there was no mention of the Rocky Mountains or the states, and up until recently, up until the most recent interview back in September of last year. With Christy and Mike, he never mentioned the 4 states. He never said New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, or Montana until Christy asked him the question and he answered it. So it before 2013, there was no Rocky Mountains. There was nothing more than it's in the mountains north of Santa Fe, which what he wrote in the book. Okay. So curious. We'll probably bore people to death with all these questions that you're asking. But they're worth restating because, I have to admit that my thoughts on the matter probably have changed since I made the videos on these various topics, a year or more ago. So keep asking them. I'll answer them.
All right.
Unless you get obnoxious.
This is from Jim Siri. Name for a honey jar. Greetings, Toby and Shelley. If possible, I'd like to tap into your great minds. Oh, great minds.
It's a great mind.
Well, that's always a good way to start.
Yeah.
My son just started a honey business, and he is trying to figure out a name for the honey jars. Being an executive chef, he's trying to include chef in the name. My thought was honey sense, but that went over like a lead balloon. Any ideas? He has just harvested about 15 gallons of honey, and after it settles, I'll send a jar to each of you.
Yum.
Thanks. Very nice.
You got any ideas?
P.S. On another note, I can't believe... Oh, we're not supposed to read that part.
That's a personal.
Okay. I won't read that part. Well, let's ask the room. Well, jars of honey. Are you naming the jars or are you naming the honey is what I don't get.
No, he's
the
product.
name?
It's a product name. Yeah. What would you call it? Brand name.
Honey.
But his son is a chef, so he wants to include that. And after I saw the email, I just printed it out this afternoon.
What?
I thought to myself, putting his name in it doesn't work.
No?
No.
Why not?
Try it.
What's his name?
It's not his name. He's a executive chef.
Well,
so
yeah,
he wants
but you
to
put
include,
like Chef Bob's honey.
Well, agreed.
I don't know.
Right. You can't do it. So I'll tell you mine have you got any ideas?
I just read it, so no. I have to think about it. Go ahead.
I think you should call it Hi Honey. Hi, comma, honey, exclamation point. By Chef Bob or whatever. Hi, honey. Are you going to the store? Pick me up some Hi, honey. Huh?
All right.
I'm going with Hi, honey. That's mine. Hi, Hi, comma, honey, exclamation point, and then by your executive chef's son's name.
I go with honeydew.
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 Or the reverse, dew honey. That's all we got now, Jim.
Everybody in the chat room, go ahead and give your
if you've got any ideas.
Be the chef.
Be the chef. Whoa, good one.
Like
Be the
it.
chef.
I
Kiwi
like
Road.
I like it.
Let's see.
Comb on honey.
Honeydew.
Honeydew.
Somebody else got the honeydew. Yeah, good. Brilliant minds.
But I was just thinking D-O, like honeydew list, honeydews. Choney or sea honey?
Chunny. Sea honey. Chunny.
None of your beeswax, honey.
None of your beeswax honey. That's nice.
It's cute.
All right.
Vitamin B honey. Nice. All kinds of good suggestions in the chat room for
Absolutely.
you there, Jim.
These guys are always thinking there, buddy.
We've got a lot of creative people out there. All right. This is from Big Blvd, North Carolina Mountain Moonshine. According to USPS, the juice is scheduled to be delivered on Friday. Maybe just in time for Church of the Search. Had no idea how expensive shipping was going up. Thanks a lot, COVID. Oh, we got a ba-bing. In any case, I hope you guys enjoy. If not, pass it along. It meant to be shared. Different tastes for different folks. It's like asking someone, how do you like your pizza? Really enjoy your updates, and thanks for making a new searcher feel welcome. I'm Big Blvd on the chats, but my name is Edward. I'm on Facebook, and
Oh,
Edward, if you'd like to join our Facebook group, it's Facebook group / A Gypsy's Kiss.
so you're welcome to join us now.
That's from Heavy Loads. Which scrapbook does Forrest give a specific elevation? I'm not sure, but you
None.
could
None, unless you
Terry
have.
Scant that.
Yeah, he hasn't given a
It's like
specific
Google
location
that. Terry Scant that.
in any of the scrapbooks, unless you're interpreting something that he said as the elevation. But there is no scrapbook that contains. By the way, my treasure chest is at, as Toby said, 8,600 feet.
And just so everybody's aware, recently posted on Dale's blog is a compilation of all of these scrapbooks. Is that correct?
It's more than the scrapbooks. Somebody went and compiled not only the scrapbooks, but a lot of other materials.
It's 900 and some odd pages. Yeah. It's downloadable as a PDF, and then you can search.
It's searchable PDF.
Search for any words that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So just go to Dale's blog and look over on the right-hand side where it's all that stuff.
Get the link. Hold on.
Yeah, you can.
Let me see if I can get the link.
Just
Keep talking.
it says compilation, and you can click on that, and it takes you to their page, and then you can download it. And there's no charge or anything for it. So thought that was kind of cool.
I'll get you a link that you guys can.
Yeah. Heavy Loads. In Scrapbook 6, Forrest mentions a specific elevation. Sweet Bee, Sunny Honey, Good Bee. We got all kinds of good ideas
Good
in here.
ones.
Sugar Pie Honey Bunch.
So goodbye, hon. So Jim, take a look at the chat room because there's a lot of suggestions in the chat room as well. Who knows? He might be able to use one of this. Let me see. Where was that?
Most recent posts. Latest post. Searchable compilation.
So you can. Let me copy the link. Let's see. Save copy link address. So here's the link to the searchable compilation. I'll put it in the chat room.
He mentions 9,500 feet, and that is where I'm looking.
Yeah. Okay. So it's that's what I. Yeah.
The price is going down. Oh, 3D bronze. Sorry. Bee plus honey. One dead bee in the bottom of each jar.
By the way, 3D, if you came in late, we're giving away one of your boxes tonight, along with one of the rooster coins that you made for us. Has I know where the treasure is, rooster on the front, and the Gypsy's Kiss logo on the back. So, did everybody find that video? Make your comment on this video, because we're going to give it away here at 8 o'clock. Okay, so what's next? Are we done with emails?
Let's look at the pictures. Yeah.
You want to look at pictures?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to look at pictures. These are from this recon last weekend. My recon number 30.
It was a short one. Short.
Yeah, well, we got rained out.
Got rained out.
Well, there was two things.
We did eat lunch up there.
Yeah, we did.
And we drove around a bit, too.
So these are, so I'll go through them, and they're only sorted by whose camera they were in, and I'll just give you a sense. So this is the border, as I said earlier, of the Nuestra Señora del Rosario del San blah, 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 land grant. The reason is that our search area is just outside this land grant. But here's an important discovery we made. And I'm just going to share the basics with you. I'm not going to tell you how we discovered this. There was at one point in the southwest corner, which is where this is, where this sign is, the southwest corner of the land grant, there was what was referred to on an ancient map as an Aztec ruin. Now, anytime any of the Spanish surveyors, the people who were surveying for land grants, notated an Aztec ruin, what they really meant was other than Pueblo. So it was more about the era of the Chaco culture, which was more than 1,000 years ago. So within spitting distance, if you will, of this sign, there was an Aztec, quote, Aztec, unquote, ruin. That we have evidence that Forrest was one of 3 people, including 2 archaeologists, who surveyed that ruin.
All we know is he visited. We don't know if he surveyed.
he visited with 2 archaeologists, so we have to
Yes.
conclude that.
Well, you don't have to conclude. You can assume.
So here's the deal. In New Mexico, if you find a ruin on your property, you are required, some people don't, but you are required to inform the state. The state has then 3 options. Option number 1 is to ignore it, do what you want. They'll probably come and check it out. Option number 2 is to preserve it. They'll take your land away from you so that they can preserve it. And option number 3 is to survey it and then turn it back over to you. We have evidence to indicate that Forrest was part of that survey. And that puts him 7 miles away from our search area, our current search area. That's why this photograph is so important. So, is this the one that doesn't advance? And how do I get to the next one?
Do you do the arrow?
Oh, there we
Yay.
go. So I was just, I wanted to point out, this is just under 7,000 feet. And as you can see, it's not mountain. It's Fenn's house is at the same elevation as this. It's high desert. So that's why I think it's not hidden below 7,000 feet. These are just views from that angle. So we were going up, we were headed east towards the mountains. This is at about 9,100 feet, and we were looking for the Borrego Trail on the Rio Medio. And here's why we were looking in that area. This is our parking area. This is very isolated, no camps, no nothing. It's isolated. There is Forest Road and some hiking trails that are named and numbered in the Santa Fe National Forest. That fence you see behind me right here, and I think I have another picture of it that Shelley took. No, we'll have to change over here in just a minute, is a piece of private property that's used for cattle grazing and cattle, organizing up there, because people do use the Santa Fe National Forest to graze their cattle. So we were going downhill from here, and what we were looking for, what we wanted to find, was the confluence of the Rio Quemado and the Rio Medio. And here's why. Quemado is burned river. And Medio is middle river. And the Rio Quemado flows into the middle river. So burnt river, warm waters, halts at middle river, me in the middle. And so we wanted to find that location, and I'll show you some more. So we'll come back to this set of slides. Go ahead.
What message is at the top of every archived scrapbook? I don't know.
I don't know. What? We don't know. What? So these are, let me see.
I don't think
these
I gave one to 3D Bronze.
Who?
3D Bronze.
So this was that area. This is from Kevin's perspective. He started heading down the trail. This is one of the canyons. This is a dry, a no paddle up your creek canyon. This is dry. The only time that this creek has any water in it is when it rains or when it's the spring runoff. And so he took several shots. He headed down. You can see there's an older trail there, but it isn't used. There's a lot of trees falling around it. But this is the, let me go back because this one's, maybe it is out of focus. So that's what the area looks like down at the bottom. And you can see right over here, there is a small trail, but that trail doesn't have a name. So it's probably an animal trail, a wildlife trail. That's looking up from, that's me and Shelley in the middle, looking up from the location down by that dry canyon that went down to the middle river, Rio Medio. But that's what the area looks like. The difference between this and the area that we showed you before is that this is around between 8,500 and 9,000 feet versus the 7,000 feet that we saw earlier. And you can see it's mountainous, and so that's where we go to the next stop. All right? So then...
What is going on there? It looks like it's floating in the air.
It is floating in the air. It's on top of a pipe. It's been smashed into the ground as a marker. It's one of those survey markers that we see up there. So we did get a picture of a couple of survey markers.
Sounds Scrapbook pages will undoubtedly help you in search.
And then
Lots of things can help you in the
so
search.
let's see what we got here. Oh, that's just us having cocktails when we got home. Let's see. What did we have? All right. So then we went to 9,600 feet, which is where we're looking for the trailhead to the Rio Quemado trailhead, the Burnt River trailhead, and that's where this was. And this is in the area that we were in last week. This goes over the top of the mountain, over the top, and then the trail goes down into the valley, and it goes into that private area that we saw earlier. And what I was going to do was I was going to have Kevin go up there, and he was going to go uphill, and I was going to shoot a drone shot of this area with Kevin walking through it. But this is what it looked like up there, because just about this time the lightning started, and so we had to hightail it out of there. So we got Kevin brought down. We caught some rain on the way back down, but the lightning and thunder was visible. The lightning was visible, and the thunder was audible. That's the road that we're looking at that ends up in a trail further up. And I was going to shoot that on the drone, and I'll show you what happened. We had a kind of weird situation with a drone. And the weird situation. Go ahead.
Google Fenn archived scrapbooks to see the message. And Mungo Jerry says, did you change your 74 to 7,800 elevation to 8,500 only because your new solve is in that elevation?
No, I had changed it before we had developed our new theory. So this is the little drone footage that we got, and I'll explain why in just a minute. So I was sending Kevin up, and I was going to shoot him. So this is at 4K.
Shoot him.
So I was headed towards him. And so this is going to be chunky because it's 4K 60 frames, and it's competing here. Kevin has a walkie-talkie, and I'm giving him directions on the walkie-talkie. And I was headed towards him, and then the drone stopped here. Flat stopped. And what had happened was, so you can tell he's looking at it. He thought the drone was going to be following him, and he's looking at it like, where's the guy, the drone? So I'm at about 20 meters. That was the other thing. It wouldn't let me. So what happened was it limited me to an altitude of 28 meters and a distance from me of 50 meters, and I couldn't understand why. So I had a big red marker up in the corner that honestly I ignored. So I brought it back, returned it to home, landed. You'll see the landing here in just a second. Or maybe I turned off the camera. And that was some campers up there. It's a very natural campsite. There's no improvements up there. Anyway, what had happened is I had been using my iPhone SE as my monitor for the drone. And so I bought an iPhone 8 Plus, which is a bigger screen, faster, et cetera, and I loaded up all the DJI software, and when we took it up there, it informed me, the DJI software, so you have to have three things connected. One is the phone has to be connected to the remote control, and the remote control has to be connected to the drone. And they have to know each other exists in order for things to happen. And what had happened is I had taken this new phone, downloaded the software, mounted it to the controller, launched the drone because I thought they were talking to each other. And I could get 28 meters up and 50 meters away from me, and it stopped. So I had to return to home. And the reason was, what I didn't know at the time, what has never happened to me before because I've been using the same phone for years now, was you have to connect the phone to the remote control to the drone. And that's for safety reasons. That way somebody can't use their phone with your controller and your drone. They'll never go on because it doesn't recognize the phone. And in order to do that, you have to log on to your DJI account. Well, up there's no cell service, and there's no wireless. There's no internet. So I couldn't connect. So that was the only drone flight we made of the day because I couldn't go any further than 28 feet. Coincidentally, the thunder and lightning started at that point. So we turned back down the mountain, came home, and had and then on the way home we bought some ribbies and
Ribs.
we had some,
Dinner.
and we had some. Let me see, screenshot. Cocktails and dinner in my backyard. There's some barbecue ribs. I was making barbecue ribs, and we had cocktails and pretty nice dinner. So it was a lot of fun. We had a good day. It was a good day to be up. We don't know what we're going to do this weekend. We haven't made plans for this weekend. We may go back up there. I do want to go get a drone shot of now with the new drone, I want to go get a drone shot of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, so we may do that. So we just haven't had a chance to talk to it. So we may have photos for you, some more photos for you next week, next Wednesday when we see you again. Okay?
Perhaps.
So, what was the question about 200 feet?
What?
Are you down to 200 feet? I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Twiggy.
This one? Did you change your elevation?
No, I
because
answered.
you yourself?
No,
That was the last question. That
Oh,
I
okay.
saw.
All right. Okay, where do we go from here?
We could either give a giveaway or do a text. Which one do you want to do?
Let's do a giveaway.
Okay.
All right. Screenshot giveaway. Sorry, we lost it there for a while. And we're going to go to...
If you want to win a 3D bronze chest, make sure you have comment. Oh, and a rooster coin. Make sure you have commented on the video on our channel from about 3 weeks ago that says comment on this video. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Comment on this video is the name of it.
Let's see how many comments we have. There are a bunch. Oops, there's one held for review. Let's see make sure they didn't get cheated on it. Let's add him. And spam. Winner, chicken. Why did it spam poor Jimmy Fast? All right, so they're back into the published one.
All right.
So I don't know how many there are. It doesn't tell me how many there are. Okay, so we're going to go get that link. And we're going to copy it, and we're going to go to commentpicker.com. And we're going to go to YouTube tools, random comment picker. We're going to put that link in here.
Apis culinaris. For the honey. I don't know. It's
Apis
Latin, I
is
guess.
Latin is bee. That's a bee in Latin.
bees knees or something like that, I think.
So 47 unique comments. We'll pick a winner right there.
Da 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 da.
Patricia
Boom.
Marin.
Yay!
Yay! One of our loyal viewers.
Yay, Patricia. She's going to win the chest, which looks a lot like that cake she made for Fenn last year.
Yeah, come to think of it.
And the I Know Where the Treasure Is rooster coin.
All right, so Patricia, text your shipping address to 202-815-1171, and we'll get that out this week. Let me add this to these
And
right
we got to
here.
play the video that says,
What?
you win.
Da-da-da-da.
Bottom.
Pretty good. Actually, they go out I pack them on the weekend, and then I ship them on Monday or Tuesday.
Unless you want to drive it up there next weekend.
I guess we could drop it off. Go by her
She's in
gallery on
Santa
Canyon
Fe,
Road.
so
Not a bad idea. We may do that.
We could do that.
She sent me her address. I know where the gallery is. Cooking with Bees.
All right. Yeah, she saw that she won.
Oh, yay. Finalmente. Finally. You.
Cooking with Bees.
Cooking
Interesting.
with bees. Not the bee's knees.
Cooking with Bees.
Okay, so let's go to we do have some text time.
I was like, duh, she's in the room. Of course she's in the room. She commented on the video. Everybody's commenting on the video is in the room. Duh.
All right. So I've
it.
got a bunch of shipping addresses from last night. Let me get through these from the folks that won last night. Okay, it's been a while since I read The Thrill of the Chase, but Forrest mentions a waterfall that seems special to him in his book. I believe when he was shot down. What are your thoughts on there'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high? There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high, referring to waterfall. You can't paddle up a waterfall. And I think heavy loads can refer to the boulders or even the loads that are hitting the water below. Thanks, Scott. So the challenge, we think, with the waterfall, we don't disagree with you, by the way, Scott. We think that's a perfectly reasonable conclusion to come to because it does talk about heavy loads, the water coming down, the water high could very easily be that. We don't have the luxury, unfortunately, of any great waterfalls in any of our search areas, so we've never been able to validate
except the ones we can't get to.
Yeah, that's right, except the ones we can't get to. But I know that there are a lot of people counting on there being a waterfall because it is so prominently mentioned in his work. So short of somebody having the solution and the treasure in their hands, we think that's a perfectly reasonable conclusion. We don't think you would, and we're only envious in that we don't have a waterfall to work with. Hey, look at...
There we
Man,
are.
he's serious about taking our picture, huh? I wish I could share these with you. They're really cute. It's Jim, one of our Member Vault members, and he takes a picture of him holding a drink, and he's got a picture of us on his, I don't know,
You should Instagram those.
big screen TV, and it really makes us look damn good. Let's see. Tony Henman, big-hearted Tony Henman. He says, hey, Toby and Shelley, just wanted to give a shout-out to Otis Magoo. He paid it forward to Susie F. on the Chase chain. He won last time. That's awesome. That's how it works. So he won. He was a winner of one of the pendants that we gave away.
Right. Tony
And
Henman
and he forwarded to Susie Fenhaven.
Oh, very nice.
Because I saw she made a short video. Tony, thank you for mentioning that, because honestly, I assumed that as part of your big-heartedness and paying it forward, I thought you had sent her one. It's good to hear that Otis
Magoo.
It doesn't look like Magoo.
Yeah.
It looks like Maggio. Yeah.
Oh, Maggio. Yeah. Mego. It's what it's like.
So Otis, thank you for paying it forward, and Tony, thanks for letting us know. I'm glad it worked out of the way, because I can't think of a lot of people more than Susie that deserves her own pendant. Ken in Oklahoma, what?
Pirate 45. So if you try to fly a drone in an area with poor internet coverage, the drone cannot be operated properly?
No, that is not true. So the drone is communicating through the remote control, the radio control, through its own wireless internet, right? You don't have to have another internet. It has a 801c signal that it makes to communicate with a drone. What I needed the internet for was to register the new phone, with the remote control and have them connected to one another. I needed an internet.
Which you should have done before we left the house.
Right. I should have done that before. I didn't know that was a requirement because I'd never had another phone, right? I either had a remote control that was fully integrated, and since I've had the Mavic 2 was the first one that required a phone, and I've had the same phone for that period of time. So I never had to connect the two. I needed the internet service to connect the phone because you have to log on to when you buy a DJI product, you establish a DJI account. And from that point forward, everything happens through that DJI account. That's where all your flight records are kept. That's where all your repairs are kept, all your orders are kept, everything. And I needed access to that account in order to connect the phone to the RC, not to fly the drone. You do not need wireless internet or cellular service to fly the drone. The drone flies, the control of the drone is independent of that. Ken in Oklahoma says, a thought on the blaze being related to a hound. A dog's nose is both wet and cold. Maybe he's trying to be cute. I like Ken's thoughts like that. John Miller, another one of our members of Alt. He's got his new ukulele, came from Hawaii. When you retire, I'll give you a few lessons. Have a great evening. That whole retirement thing. One day I will retire, and I have my ukulele, the Enya signature ukulele, no less.
Which he got for his birthday?
Yeah, for my birthday.
Yeah.
And it has not been plucked since. So
yeah.
I may take you up on that offer, John. I'd love to learn how to play it. What were you going to say?
If he still has it at that point.
Yeah,
hasn't
eventually.
given it away to Goodwill.
Eventually it makes a trip to Goodwill or
give it to me. That's his two choices anymore.
Well, sometimes I give them to Jason, but usually I just ask Shelley.
Yeah, but I wouldn't charge you if you wanted it back.
Yeah, if you wanted. Yeah. So I have this fun relationship with my son. I give him stuff, like I went through that phase where I was restoring old toys. And when I got out of that phase, because I realized it's a lot of damn work, but in the meantime, I had bought $1,500 worth of equipment to do the restorations. And so I gave it all to Jason, right? Which is not unusual. I'm like, he can always use it. Anyway, about 2 weeks ago, I realized I needed my compressor back. I was missing my compressor. And I said I had to buy my compressor back from him. So
it's storage fees.
I buy it. Yeah, he charges me storage fees for him. And he makes a joke out of it, like, so if there's anything else you want to buy back, and I gave it to him. So we have we do have a wonderful relationship, but I would feel bad just asking for him. I like it better that I can pay him for it. Let's see. I would like to come on your show and discuss Forrest Fenn and his treasure chest. I have something that's very interesting. You'll have to transition into my world, though. Ooh, wow. You know what that sounds like? That sounds kind of woo-woo.
Good boy. That was so good. Thank you for telling us about the woo-woos.
He was talking about the woo-woos.
Okay.
All right. We'll call you back here in just a little bit. You didn't leave a name. So 406, send me your name, your first name, and the state from which you were calling. So before I call you back. And this is funny. So I've got some guy. This is the same guy. I recognize the number. So every time we have a giveaway, we know most of these people.
Yeah.
He sends in a message and he says, "This is my shipping address."
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go, that's not Patricia's shipping address because she doesn't live in New Jersey. But he thinks it's kind of cool because he thinks, you know what, I can get away with this.
He's going to trick you.
Yeah.
Someday you're going to send him a freebie.
Send him a freebie, yeah. So that's all the text messages. I don't think we have any voicemails. I didn't see any anyway. Okay. All right. So here's the deal. If you want me to call you, if you want to talk, send me a text message it'll have your phone number and say that you want me to call you. In the meantime, I'm going to call back.
But leave your name and
the
state where you're calling from. That's
the state from which you are calling. So let's call back this gentleman who says, so this is what he says. I would like to come on your show and discuss Forrest Fenn and his treasure chest. I have something that's very interesting. You'll have to transition into my world, though. And Patricia, I just got your shipping address. Thank you for that. All right, let's call back this person. We don't know if it's a male or female, so let's see what happens. I'll keep the finger in case it gets crazy real quick.
Four, 0, 6, 5.
That's just a message.
Yeah.
So you can hang up.
Beep. All right, 406, we tried. We just got your voicemail connection, so nada and la nada there. But good try. So let me see if we got any other.
So if you would like to call and discuss the treasure, yes, I'm looking at you, those of you who say, oh, they never talk about the treasure. Call in now. We'll talk about the treasure.
We'll talk about the treasure with you as much as you want.
Yeah.
We might play a video afterwards,
Or
depending
actually
on whether
text us and let us know you want us to call you. That way we don't get any more of those trolls.
Crazy calls.
Trolls and
I don't know. I guess we could open
crazies.
up. I've gotten better at handling them. I guess I can just hang up as usual.
It hasn't called when I've been around, but
You never know.
that's just so far, I guess.
That's just so far. You never know.
You
Okay.
never know.
Phone lines
never
are
know.
open, 202-815-1171. Call us if you want to talk about Forrest Fenn's treasure. If not, we'll have an early Wednesday night, and we will see you next Wednesday.
That's right. You guys, did you open up the phone line?
I did.
Oh, did you play the video about it? Oh, never mind.
It's called potential spam. Let's see. Hey, you've reached Toby and Shelley. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your comment on the treasure?
Nick's Pizza here. I just want to know why I should drop off these pizzas.
Drop off pizzas.
Yeah, it's a drop-off pizzas guy.
That sounds good. Are they paid for?
No. You always have to pay for
What
them.
flavor are they?
What flavor are the pizzas? What flavor are the pizzas there,
I
brother?
only want good ones.
Because if they're bad pizzas, we don't want your stinking pizzas.
That's not our fault. See, we were ready to talk about the treasure. Then this person called and didn't talk about the treasure. That isn't anything we had any control over, you see? We tried to talk about the treasure. Don't complain in the chat room that we don't try to talk about the treasure.
Yeah, we tried.
Complain about the trolls who call in and talk about pizza. All you want.
You gotta give him credit. All right, we'll try it again. I'll let it go one more time, see what happens. If not, we'll just
All right,
do what
phone
we keep
lines
doing.
open, and if it's a call from another troll, then we're closing the lines for the night.
Yeah. And
If
we'll
you
take a
would
break.
like us to call you, text us at 202-815-1171 and just say, call me, my name is, and tell us your first name or your screen name if you want, and we'll give you a call. Anyway.
All right. Oh, God. I can already tell. Hey, you've reached Toby and Shelley on a Gypsy Kiss. What's your name and what's your comment on the treasure?
My name's John, and I've been following the hunt for about 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And I just seen Toby that about what he had said in the beginning about like north of Santa Fe and southeast of Toledo, and the way he set it up, it really seems like he set it up thinking it was going to be a lot smaller, and that maybe it's just in New Mexico, and but because he doesn't expand it to the other states until too far to walk. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's so when he started this, we there's a kind of theory that we play by. What if Forrest Fenn had died in December of 2010? We actually did a video on that topic. I wrote him beforehand, let him know that I was going to do this video, and he was okay with it. But the premise is, what if he had died in December 2010? What would you know, right? What would you know from
that
there?
information.
Yeah,
Okay.
There would be no Too Far to Walk. There would be no Once Upon a While. There would be no map. There would be no Margie Goldsmith Hemispheres article. There would simply be the 1,000 copies of the book that were placed in the Collected Works bookstore in Santa Fe. Where would you, if that was all we had, right? If
Right.
if that was all we had, where would you be looking for that treasure? If there
Well,
were
that makes perfect sense. So then it's in New Mexico. I mean, it has to be. I mean, because that's a good logical way to look at it. And I was thinking, didn't he originally say at least 300 miles southeast of Toledo, and now he just says east of or west of Toledo? You know what I'm saying? The first description he gave, I can't remember the site I saw it on.
Yeah.
But is that accurate?
So it was in response to a question he got from an email, and the woman had asked for another clue. And so he said to her, the treasure is 300 miles west of Toledo. And then in a later interview, he mentions that story. He tells that story and suggests it was just, he was teasing. It was not intended to be a valid clue. And if you look at it, 300 miles west of Toledo doesn't tell you anything, as usual. Any clue that Fenn has given after 2010 has been kind of a non-clue. It hasn't gotten
But it
you
does
closer.
give you a clue. I'm sorry, so go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, he's never given clues that get you closer to the treasure.
Okay, but kind of a clue I think originally he said southwest, and which my theory would be, you draw the line straight across from Toledo, and it's got to be on that line or south of it. If he originally said southwest, is what I was thinking. You can eliminate, and when you draw that line, it comes, I think, just on the top of Colorado, I think, so it would like eliminate.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, to
Okay.
me, I would be surprised if it got you anywhere near a credible location for the treasure, right? If it got you to the point where you could say, I really feel like the treasure is right here. Hang on, let me open a map. I've never actually done this, but let's...
I think it's 43 degrees latitude, I think, or something like that. And if you draw it across, I think it goes right on, just below the northern border of Colorado, I think, if I remember.
All right, well, here's Toledo. So I've got the map on Toledo. And it's because 400, or did he say 300 or 400? 300 miles.
300 miles west of Toledo.
It's farther than that, so it really don't matter about that. I mean, it's at least 300 miles. So,
Yeah.
it's beyond that.
So if you just take the west, I don't remember him saying southwest, but let's do both. So I'm going to measure the distance from Toledo right here with a mark right here, and we're going to stretch that out 300 miles west. So that puts you in Illinois.
No, I know, but it's at least 300 miles west of Toledo. So that's just it. Yeah, it's all
Right.
west of it. But
So-
if he says south, then that means it's got to be below that line and not above that line.
If he says southwest and you do the 300 miles, you're still in Illinois.
Yeah, Toby, you're
Right.
missing my point. My point is that you draw the line from Toledo, and if he says it's at least 300 miles southwest of Toledo, that means it's got to be below that parallel line you could draw across from Toledo. It's got to be. You could eliminate a lot of the search area by drawing it the 43rd parallel all the way through.
Oh, so your conclusion, the conclusion you're making is that it wouldn't have made any difference if he had said 300 miles or 1,000 miles. You're using the line drawn across here as some sort of demarcation point. Yeah.
Right. If that's straight across to Toledo, and he says it was southwest of Toledo, then it's got to be below that line somewhere to be southwest.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So I was eliminating the upper part of Colorado and the other two states, but after listening to all the songs that people got, it could be anywhere, I guess.
if you go southwest, from Toledo and you extend that line, you've actually cut off the entire search area, including New Mexico. So
right.
So yeah,
that's not my point. My point is that if it's southwest of Toledo, that means it has to be south of that line somewhere, and to draw that line straight across through the search area, anything above it can't be southwest of it. It has to be below that line. I'm just eliminating the country above that. See what I'm saying? I was just eliminating areas.
Yeah.
And
the upper half of Wyoming and Montana.
Yeah. Maybe he
Yellow-
didn't say that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he did, but
Yeah.
well, how we could find that. But
Well, of course, what he did later is he made jest of it. He in the interview that he conducted after that, he used it as a joke, like, "Oh, I was just saying that to make sure I met her need to get to get a new clue."
oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
But great show, guys. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for calling. So we did get a voicemail. What were you going to say?
I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is Ken from Oklahoma. Since nobody's calling in, if you want to give me a call, I got some stuff to talk about.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let's call him.
Coo. Coo, coo, coo.
Let me.
What's up?
I'm just trying to see.
And 3 Cokes as well as 2.
What?
3 Cokes and 2 pizzas and
What? Peaches. Thought you were going to call, what's his, Ken.
I am, just a minute. Hey, you've reached Toby and Shelley on Gypsy's Kiss. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's the question?
Yeah, I got a question. 2 questions, actually.
What's your name?
I'm 200-foot Blazer on there.
200-foot Blazer. And where are you calling from, 200-foot?
I'm from Utah.
Oh, great. Well, go ahead. What's your question?
Okay, so my question is, he says that you can't start in the middle of the poem, but then he says that the first clue, you have to start with the first clue, but the first clue is in the middle of the poem. That's question number 1. And the other question is, if the home of Brown, if Brown is capitalized and most people think that's a name, does that mean that no other word that's not capitalized could not be a name? So those are my 2 questions.
Okay. So
what do you think?
So the first one, the capitalized B indicates it's a proper noun. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a name. So, for example, when people who assign names to animals, I forgot what their name is, species taxonomists, the first word in the name is always capitalized. So brown trout, and I'm using this as an example, not suggesting this is it, but brown trout, the first word brown is capitalized, trout is not. So it is a proper, it would imply that it's a proper noun, not necessarily a name, meaning the name of a person, but it is a proper noun. Proper nouns are capitalized. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, what was your second question? Because I had a take on that as well.
The second question is, I think he said that you need to start
right
with the first clue, but he gets mad at people when they start in the middle of the poem, but then he tells us that the first clue is begin where warm waters halt, which is also in the middle of the poem.
So we actually discussed this in the member vault last night, all the things that we know about the poem as fact. And you come to a funny place in all of this. So he has said more than once that the first clue is begin at where warm waters halt. We have to conclude, we have no evidence otherwise, that the last clue is look quickly down your quest to cease. Well, those are 10 lines of 24 in the poem. You spent 15 years writing this poem, and you have to ask yourself, if only 10 lines are worth it, if only 10 lines are worth the effort of going, what are the other 14 lines all about? And then he says things like, don't ignore any of the words in my poem, make sure you don't ignore the nouns in my poem, etc., etc. So you have to come to some sort of conclusion about those 14, the majority of lines in the poem that are not specifically clues, then why are they there? So if you compare this to the verses that Byron Price wrote in the For the Secret, Byron Price was very specific. The first clue was, the first line in the poem was the first clue. I'm sorry, he didn't write poems. The first line in the verse was the first clue. The last line in the verse was the last clue. There were no extra, what word am I looking for?
Extraneous?
Extraneous verbiage, lines or words in any of Byron Price's poems. What Fenn has done is he said, you've got 10 of the 24 lines are the clues, and then he says, but don't ignore anything. So if you're not ignoring anything and they're not clues, what are those other 14 lines about? And Fenn has said, and he's used this trickery before, where he said there are clues in the book and there are hints in the book, and then he finishes with, because the poem is in the book. So what do you think the possibility that all the clues, which we know is likely true, and all the hints are in the book because they're in the poem? Because sooner or later you have to ask yourself, why is there no value? Why are there only 10 lines that are clues? Why is most of the poem not clues? Why is it there? Are you still there?
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. That was just my questions. I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Always causes us to think, huh? So I got a couple of callbacks that I'm going to do.
Got some coaching.
Go ahead.
9 major clues in stanzas 2 and 3, MIO. Rest of the lines contain hints only.
Yeah. We can assume that all the clues are in stanzas 2, 3, and the first half of 4. If you assume that the first clue is begin at where warm water salt, as he said, and the last clue is look quickly down, your quest to cease. If your quest is ceasing, then that means you've found the treasure. So the question I have that isn't quite answered yet is, what are the other 14 lines about if they're not hints? Because the hints are in the book and the poem is in the book. All right, Jeremy, I'm going to call you.
Nine, 8,
Oh my
9,
gosh.
4.
All right, Jeremy, I tried. Let's call Ken. Ken wants to talk.
Brown troll.
Oh,
Hey, Ken, it's Toby and Shelley.
yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, and you?
Hey, yeah, good. Nobody was calling, so I thought I'd restore my.
No,
still
see
my
what
number
happens
in there.
when we say nobody is calling, then the whole world starts calling. So
Yeah.
but we'll call you back.
Hey, actually,
If you call while I'm talking to Ken here, I'll try to call you back. Okay, Jeremy, I tried, but it went to your voicemail.
Yeah. Okay, I won't try to take too long, but hey,
Take your
first
time.
Caller,
We got 35 minutes here.
Okay. So the first caller, I can give my opinion. I absolutely researched that at first Forrest said southwest of Toledo. And this is the larger point I wanted to talk about is, what do we have to work with in this search? Well, we have the material in print, and then we have words out of Forrest's mouth occasionally and some emails.
Yeah.
Now, here's one thing that we know to be true, is that he can make a mistake. When he was asked, what does he see at the treasure site? He lists things, and he says, ooh, I just made a mistake.
Yeah.
I wish
He
I hadn't
corrected
said
himself.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, the book and the poem, he had time and Douglas Preston to proofread, make sure things weren't divulged too easy. So in my current solve, I started with where warm water salt, And as I progressed through it, sure enough, statements he has made in email and voice, I'm not sure which, correlate.
Yeah.
And they're statements that he has kind of backpedaled on. So I think that's something that people need to look at, is when he's made a comment that people jump at as, ooh, that's a clue, but then they leave it alone because he begins to backpedal off of it. I think he makes genuine mistakes and that's genuine information, because it proves out in my solve anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely that way. And I think it was absolutely a mistake and a big clue. Me personally, I absolutely believe that it's not north of Colorado, because I absolutely believe he made a mistake when he said southwest of Toledo. So that's the line of thinking that proved out to be true all the way to my narrow location in my solve.
Nice. Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable. I don't think that it would be useful to contradict your suggestion that he has made mistakes, because we do know for certain he has made mistakes. And some of those mistakes have been unintentionally misleading. You know, it isn't his fault.
Right.
And he tries often to correct himself. The problem with correcting yourself is sometimes, and I think this is why he doesn't do it, is sometimes when you're correcting yourself, you correct it with information that you don't want to release, right?
Right.
My name isn't spelled Y-A-E-U-N-I-C-E, it's spelled Y-O-U-N-I-S, and now everybody knows how to find you, right? So I think that's why sometimes he avoids making the correction. It would provide additional intelligence that he doesn't want you to have.
Yeah. And then the last thing I'll say, I wish I could talk more freely about, my solve and stuff, but I don't feel like I'm at that point. But I'll just say this, that my solve includes at least a dozen hints in the book.
Because the hints are in the poem? And the poem is in the book?
No, and the book. No, hints from the book.
Oh, okay. Well, so how do you address...
Forms.
Yeah, so how do you address when he was asked about that, he said there's a couple of hints and a couple of good hints and a couple of aberrations around the edges. If you add that all up, it's 4. So how do you get more than 4?
Yeah, this is true. It could be that I am self-fulfilling my prophecy or whatever, but I'm telling you, between words, drawings, and photos, I have lots and lots of directly corroborating evidence. Not had to take 3 steps to get there.
Yeah.
But direct. Yeah.
Well, we look forward to hearing.
So what I figure is it's got to be either right or close enough that once he hid the chest, he looked the area around and found all kinds of subterfuge information to inject into these stories.
Mm-hmm. So
just one more thing I thought. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, how many times have you been boots on the ground?
Twice.
And when are you going next?
Pretty soon. I got health issues. I got them on. I can only drive when I'm feeling good. And anyhow, blah blah blah. I'm old and broken. But here's something else. Here's something else that I thought somebody like Smell the Sunshine or somebody should research is. Maybe a month ago, a lady called in and said that many of his stories were published in the Bozeman Chronicle.
Yeah.
I think those need to be compared to the stories that ended up in the Thrill of the Chase and look for different information that might be injected or deleted from when it was published in the Bozeman Chronicle. And those might be either subterfuge or clues. You see what I'm saying?
So I think someone has actually done that. I remember seeing that. I don't remember who it... Odious Soul? Well, didn't Odious Soul do something like that? She compared the Bozeman articles to what's and noted the differences. They weren't big, significant differences, but that's been done. Check Odious Soul. Oh. She did some work in that area.
Yeah. I'll do that.
She's another YouTuber. Did you say what state you're searching in?
I will tell you, I believe it's below the northern border of Colorado.
Below the northern border of Colorado.
Yeah, and here I'll mention this too. See if anybody has an opinion on this. So the Douglas Preston interview, I believe it was the one where K-Pro was there. I think it's the one where at the end Douglas Preston says, "Ooh, I think there was a big clue there."
Don't
says that
believe.
every time.
Do not believe Douglas Preston. The
No,
guy.
no, I hear you. I hear you, but here's my interpretation of that.
All right.
Is I believe it's a comment Forrest made when he's talking about a interaction with Dale, I think, Neitzel, about winter time, and Forrest says something like, "Yeah, I think we could tell everybody that it's that it's not that we can shut down northern Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana, but they wouldn't listen; they'd still go."
Yeah.
I think that's what Douglas Preston was saying was a big clue. But that's just my opinion.
Well,
I think he misunderstood what Forrest was talking about.
Right.
But that's just my opinion.
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
so that's all I got.
All right. Okie doke. Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, no,
What?
hey. Now, what's up, though? You guys, 2 shows ago, you said this is where the treasure is. Now, what's going on?
No, we never say where the treasure is. We don't know.
You did.
You said
You
where we
pointed
were
at a little
No.
spot, and you said
No.
this is where the treasure is.
No, we say this is where we're looking. We always say this is where we're looking for the treasure, because we tell everybody we have no idea where the treasure is. We have no
Well,
idea.
I wish you luck.
We still don't know where the treasure is.
Yeah.
This is where
And
we
you
are.
made-
This is where we are looking for the treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, I want to let you know you made me sad with this cutting down to 1 show a week. So.
Well,
That's right.
again, we just had to. There's a couple of things that we have to invest time in. One is the Sales Leaders Institute webinars, because they're starting to take more time, and the other is the Member Vault, because it's starting to take more time in terms of the amount of research that we have to spend on. So we'll still be here, and if we have to lengthen the show a little bit more to accommodate everything, but we think 2 hours is a fair amount of time to get everything we want to get done in a particular show. So,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wish some of these other people I wish they would have more call-ins and phone numbers and things for old people that aren't so computery, But that's all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would, for Mike, he does have a phone number, and they do open it. Now, this is I don't want to say it's a bad time for them. This is a busy time for them, both Mike and Christy. And I think once things settle down for them, they'll be back to a normal programming. I mean, they couldn't have a show on Monday because they were in the middle of a move. So, but I think they'll eventually get back to normal, and they'll continue to do shows. And the other thing, too, is if we free up Friday and Saturday night, that means there's some other Fenn tubers who could fill that in with their own programming. And, what we do, we have a nice studio, yes, but none of what we do is rocket science. There are other YouTubers, maybe not Fenn tubers, who do it. And if you invest a little money and a little time in learning, everybody can do what we do, including the inbound phone calls, et cetera, and then the trolls will call.
Yep. Ruin it all.
All right. I'm going to let you go.
All right, thanks. You have a good evening.
All right. Bye-bye.
So we have a text message from Hooli, who says she wants us to call her. She has something to say. So let's give her a call. Hooli. All right, we're calling Hooli.
Hello.
Hi, Hooli. It's Toby and Shelley.
Hey, how are you two?
Good. How are you guys doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Good to hear. I say you guys. That was an unfortunate selection. So, how are you doing? Is the correct question.
I'm great. How are you two?
We're doing great.
Good. So I just wanted to make a quick observation. Nothing major.
Okay.
But I sent you an email, and I believe that you two had expressed that Forrest Fenn didn't say anything in the Rocky Mountains north of New Mexico prior to 2013. And I've sent you 2 YouTubes, one from Gotti Schwartz and one from Tony DeCopel.
Yes.
Both of whom reference Colorado and Wyoming, one in 2011 and one in 2012.
Yes.
So I think Forrest put the word out through them, through the media, that it might be in the northern states.
And if you had the documentation from the notes that each of them took during those, and they could provide a citation where Fenn said that, you have to assume that was their interpretation.
Were they videos or were they articles?
Well, they were post interview videos. So they were follow-up videos to a conversation they had with Forrest. So one of the you've got to pick some rules to follow in all of this, and one of the rules that we follow is if we have no citation, no evidence that Forrest actually spoke those words, we can't necessarily trust it, because the minute you say, well, the minute you pick one, I mean, Margie Goldsmith, for example, if you read all 4 of Margie Goldsmith's articles, she's interpreted things that Forrest has said in ways that in later articles she reinterpreted. So I don't think it is, in our opinion, we do not put any credence in a comment made by a journalist, regardless of who they are and how good they are. And I know both Tony and Gotti as good, high-quality journalists, unless they provide an audio citation, the recording of that interview that indicates that Forrest actually said those words, and they were not that journalist's interpretation of Forrest's words.
Right. And I totally agree with that we have to take it as secondhand information, but I know you probably know that, but I think a lot of searchers might not have thought that, or some of the people that were in from the very beginning perceived it to be that Forrest, that it wasn't talked about until much later.
When I say Forrest did not mention the Rocky Mountains before 2013, I mean Forrest Fenn. There is no citation anywhere indicating that Forrest Fenn mentioned the Rocky Mountains prior to 2013.
Right.
And the publishing of Too Far to Walk. Nor did he prior to this most recent conversation with K-Pro mention the 4 states prior to that time. And that was, 2019? September of 2019? When did she do that interview?
I thought somebody else did an interview with him where he said it too, but it was still 2019.
Yeah. I had never heard before September 2019, I had never heard Forrest say New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, or Montana.
Now, to clarify the Rocky Mountains, he mentioned it before the book was published, but it was 2013.
Right. Well, it was when he was talking about the map at.
Well, he also talked about it, I think, with the Today Show or with some other interviews he did in 2013.
Right, with the publishing
before the book was published.
But he knew the book was going to be published. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time we heard him mention the Rocky Mountains.
Right. And I think it's most reliable to cite him in his words, but I don't know at that point if he was doing many interviews that early on.
Well, there weren't a lot of interviews, but if you go back to, say, the interview with the 3 interviews prior to 2013, the 3 interviews with Lorene Mills, which were at that time probably the most comprehensive of all the interviews that he did. He knew he was in safe territory. He knew it wasn't hostile until she brought up Craig Childs. But other than that, they were very comfortable for him, and it never came up in any of those interviews.
Yeah. Gotti, it was interesting in the one video. Gotti
and I think Gotti took us all the way to Alaska.
Yes, and that was exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Gotti said this is a tip from Fenn and shared it almost as if he was one of the confidants of Forrest from way back when.
Right.
But he said Forrest offered this tip that it could be anywhere north of Santa Fe and in the Rocky Mountains, and that can go to the whole way to Alaska, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
I had just recently heard that. So I just thought I'd share. It's an observation. It definitely is secondhand information, as you all say.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting.
Well, and then he was stuck with that situation where if he believed it was all the way to Alaska, he was surprised by the fact that Benchmark at Moby Dickens, he mentions, he was surprised by the fact that Benchmark maps in the map that was included in Too Far to Walk had cut the Rocky Mountains off at the Canadian border, as if to say, I didn't know that was going to happen because I wanted to tell you they went all the way to Alaska. So
Right.
it was kind of a funny place for him to be. And I think, not that I discredit Gotti Schwartz. I like Gotti Schwartz as a journalist. Obviously, NBC likes him because they keep promoting him. And I like Tony DeCopel as a journalist because he also works for NBC, and he's been promoted to producer on the news side of NBC.
You only like him because he married Katie Tur.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, yeah, he did marry Katie Tur, who's my favorite, one of my favorite journalists. So, and they have a baby named Sam.
A boy or
And
a
I
girl?
Boy.
And I have to believe that Gotti actually full-heartedly believed Forrest when he said anywhere north of Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Just based on the fact that he went boots on the ground in 2011
Right.
in Yellowstone National Park.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't think it would be something to miss. My perception is that he was being honest with that.
But I mean, let's face it, you wouldn't have to have a conversation with Forrest in order to start searching further north than the southern border of Colorado, because there's a whole bunch in the book. I mean, people as well heeled as Stephanie 30-Acre and Dale Neitzel were searching north of the Colorado-New Mexico border long before Too Far to Walk. So there was something in the thrill of the chase that was enough for them to say, I'm going to make that trip. You know, there were when, by the time I got in 2013, there were searchers all over the mountain states and in places like Utah and Idaho, because and that's why he finally had to say, I think it was in 2012 when he said, you don't have to search in Utah. It's not in Utah, it's not in Idaho, and it's not in Arizona, because people were searching there as well. And that was just based on the thrill of the chase, somehow that their interpretation of the thrill of the chase that got them. And I know, like I said, people who Fenn was intimate with in terms of friendships, like Dale Neitzel and Stephanie 30-Acre, were going way beyond the southern border of Colorado to look for that treasure. And there was no mention of the Rocky Mountains. There was no mention of the Too Far to Walk, and they were looking as well.
Well, I hope this was better than a prank call. I just thought I'd.
Yeah. No, that's a like you said, it's a fair observation.
And it's one that I had just made recently, so I thought I'd share for people that haven't done prior research or are newer to the chase, and I appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thanks for calling in.
You all take care. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. So let's see. So we got another, let me try Jeremy again. He says
we had another.
Oh, who's that from?
Heavy Roads. And it says, he only said north of Santa Fe doesn't mean New Mexico.
Well, if I kidnap your cat...
Let's not kidnap any more cats. Not tonight.
Okay, so let's try calling Jeremy again. He said it didn't ring on his end.
Sometimes that happens.
So we're trying...
reboot your phone.
Jeremy,
Mine does that sometimes.
We're calling you right now.
I think you hung up on him. Did you?
Well, I hung up, but I didn't hear anything in time.
Oh.
So I'll try one more time. Okay, Jeremy, I'm going to try one more time. I don't know why. Okay, here goes, Jeremy. Be ready. Here it comes. Come on, Jeremy, answer on the first ring.
One ringy dingy, two ringy dingies.
Maybe just once just calling back and okay, let's see.
Hello.
Hello?
Jeremy?
Hey, how are you?
Good. It's Toby and Shelley.
How's it going?
Very good, thank you. And you? We haven't heard from you in a while.
I'm doing good.
Good. Good to hear. What do you got to tell us about?
I just wanted to talk about how you were saying north of Santa Fe.
Ooh,
I mean,
yeah, that always causes consternation. Tell me what you think about that.
if it was just like, north of Santa Fe, why not just say in the mountains somewhere outside of Santa Fe?
So how does that, I guess the question that leads to is how does what you just suggested, what you just said, different from the mountains north of Santa Fe?
Well, you kind of are under the belief that because he didn't say Rocky Mountains, it's closer or in New Mexico.
Well, no. So let's go back to the page in the book where he tells us where the treasure is. It says, I hid a treasure, and I didn't make it too hard to find, but it's hard to find. And it's in the mountains somewhere north of Santa Fe. Those are his words. Or did he say somewhere in the mountains north of Santa Fe?
Something like that.
Yeah, somewhere in the mountains north of Santa Fe. So he didn't say it's out around Santa Fe someplace. It's somewhere in the mountains north of Santa Fe. And you're right. That could be interpreted as any mountain that's north of Santa Fe all the way up to the Canadian Rockies, because those mountains are north of Santa Fe. We can't disagree with that. But then you have to consider the following. When he wrote those words, somewhere in the mountains north of Santa Fe, he knew at that time he was going to publish 1,000 copies of that book. And they were all going to be in the Collected Works bookstore. Yeah, that's a place that you could buy them. And that because they were in Santa Fe at the Collected Works bookstore, it would likely be purchased by the people who knew and admired Fenn, and indeed they did. Right? And then they started searching in the mountains north of Santa Fe. So when you tie the mountains north of Santa Fe to the thousand copies of the book, nobody knew it was going to blow up into the big thing that it was, the big international treasure hunt that it became. Back then, it was a local treasure hunt for all intents and purposes. It was a local treasure hunt. It would be like if you published a treasure hunt book and you said it's in the Upper Peninsula.
Okay.
Because that's where people would go. That's where you'd want people to go, the Upper Peninsula.
I also feel like it helps too that he had so many stories from West Yellowstone too. So it's like at least stuff that he's mentioned.
True, but we did that analysis a long time ago, and if you take all the chapters that are written about Yellowstone, all the chapters that are written about Temple, Texas, all the chapters My War for Me, and all the chapters that are written about New Mexico comes in number 2 after My War for Me. There's more pages about New Mexico than there are about Yellowstone or Temple.
Okay.
So that's one other thing. So here's another thing, right? If you look at his life, he spent over, let's see, now he got here in 72, so it's 50, he spent 58 years in New Mexico. He spent a total of 5 years and 3 months in Yellowstone. So he spent 10 times more time in New Mexico than he did in Yellowstone.
But one time period was when he was a kid, and I feel like that's kind of
agreed. I mean, he said he went. That's where I get the 5 years, right? He went to Yellowstone every summer from the time he was a baby to the time he was 21, except one summer when his father was getting his master's degree. That's 21 summers. June, July, and August times 3, that's 63 months. That's 5 years.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Does it ever state in the Thrill of the Chase where he met Peggy, or did she go to West Yellowstone area when he was like in high school or a young kid?
It doesn't say in the Thrill of the Chase where he met her, but he did meet her in...
It says in one of the other books.
Yeah.
He tells a story about she and her cousin came to visit Skippy in the hospital, and her cousin was Skippy's girlfriend, later his wife, so that his wife and Skippy's wife were cousins, according to that story.
Yeah. But that was all in Temple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think they were, you get a sense they were high school sweethearts before they were serious sweethearts.
Because she went to high school, the same high school that Fenn went to. She was just a couple years behind him.
I feel like I've read too that her grandparents were up in that area too, right?
I think she had family up there.
Yeah, she did have family up there. I don't know if it was the grandparents, but she did spend time up there. And he mentions that It's Too Far to Walk. He talks about that.
I got one more thing.
Yeah, keep
I
going.
just wanted to say how crazy it is that we all spend this much time on Forrest Fenn.
Yeah, well, for us, if you knew how much time we spent, I mean, think about it. If you add up all our shows, just the shows, not the research or the prep time that goes into them, but if you add up all our shows every week, it's 12 hours a week talking about Forrest Fenn. So
it never gets old either, though.
No, and I think that's why there's, I think right now I'm tracking over 50 FenTube channels. And they're just, sometimes they're just going through the channel and they're reading the chat and talking to the chat room. But yeah, it never, and you see a lot of people, in each of the chat rooms as they go live from one to another. And I think it's hard not to talk about it. I think, so a couple of days ago, we got an email from a person, and I'm not going to say who it was or what it was about, but it was obvious that this person had become obsessed to the point of paranoid schizophrenia. I don't know how else to describe it, just by reading the letter, all right? And was looking for some way to calm all of the fears that she was experiencing. And we get, this is probably the fourth or fifth time we've gotten a letter from someone that is experiencing the same emotions of I can't get this out of my mind. I'm ruining my marriage. I'm losing my children. Was thrown out of my house. Crazy stuff. And so when I consider what we do, which is we spend 12 hours with our friends talking about a pretty cool treasure, we spend even more time going to look for that treasure. We spend more time when we're not with you talking about looking for the treasure. So we put a lot of time into it, and I don't feel like we're as obsessed of some of the people that communicate with us. I think we're just kind of, this is, for us, so at my age, it can't be anything more than a hobby. It's something, and that's how I got into it. I had when I found out about the treasure, I had decided to stay in New Mexico and retire to New Mexico. And at that point, it was just something to keep me busy, like fishing or hiking or anything else. So the AGK evolved out of that. Because Shelley and I both had the expertise in the live streaming, the video making and live streaming, et cetera, et cetera. So we still treat it like a fun hobby that we get to share with our friends online. So we're not.
It's been fun, and it's hard to mention anybody else, though. I've found.
Yeah. You once you're into it, nobody else quite under. I mean, I have 6 children. All of whom, they don't say, we don't want to talk about it. They say, they listen patiently, and then they say, well, good luck with that, Dad. Good luck with that, good luck with that. And so I don't blame them.
It's crazy how you progress through the years, too.
Yeah. Well.
Like you could tell who is a new searcher,
Right.
and who's been in it for a while.
And I've been through those phases. I was one of those new searchers that read the poem, figured it all out, and dragged my son out to the Rio Rancho and tried to drown him in the first 2 weeks of my searching because I knew where that treasure was. So I've been through that phase. After a while, as you age in the treasure, you become a little bit more calmer. You go out on, X number of recons, and each recon makes you realize, you don't have all the answers. You still need to do more searching, more researching, et cetera, in order to get closer and closer and closer. So once you figure that, it comes out life. By the way, I wanted you guys to know that one of Shelley's assets is that on the side she's truly a Eric Sloan class artist. And while we're talking on the phone, she's doodling these. We can't see it.
Yay! I drew it on green, so you can't see
I
it.
drew it on green, so we can't show it. It was one of her
silly doodle.
We should. You know what? I want you to sign that, and I'm going to include it.
Brown. I signed it brown.
Oh, okay. I'm going to include that in what we're sending to Patricia here, so she knows that you're a competitive.
Do you think the size of the book matters at all? I thought about this.
The thrill of the chase.
Yeah, because if he were to lay it all out, and put the pictures in certain ways,
yeah.
I feel like he could hide stuff in the book. If it was.
Yeah. So we believe that Too Far to Walk is the memoir, is Forrest Fenn's memoir. That The Thrill of the Chase was a book that was thrown together from already written material, so the poem had a place to live. We don't think The Thrill of the Chase is his memoir. As a matter of fact, Shelley and I have been talking about writing the unauthorized biography of Forrest Fenn because there's so much missing in The Thrill of the Chase. And and so The Thrill of the I don't this is going to sound very disrespectful. It's not meant to be. The Thrill of the Chase was a vessel in which to put the story of the gold, the story of the treasure, and the poem. And as a result, although Lou and what's her name? Susan did a wonderful job in design. He talks about he was working on that book. They were working on that book up to a couple of weeks before it was actually published. So it was rushed. There is no forward. There's no chapter numbers. There's no index. There's all the things that you would expect that you get in Too Far to Walk weren't included in The Thrill of the Chase. So I've always felt like The Thrill of the Chase was the book that he promised his friends he was going to write. He was going to tell stories, and he was going to tell them about the treasure and make a poem so that they could go look for it. So
do you still have the dust jacket for your book?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've always felt I threw mine away, but I remember hearing an interview with him where he was talking about the dust jacket and about how everyone just throws it away.
Yeah.
And I always
that
thought
was when he was showing his San Lazaro book.
Yeah. Yeah.
To Lorraine Mills.
He was. That's Shelley reminds us about the San Lazaro book. The San Lazaro book didn't come with a dust cover, and it's crazy because it's one of the most beautiful books. I would say that San Lazaro is his number one best work if I were to rank them on my own, followed by the Joseph Henry Sharp piece. There's some, and then Too Far to Walk. I wouldn't rank The Thrill of the Chase in the top 6 or 7 of his books, but that's my opinion. It's a vessel. It's a narrow, quickly published book for the purpose of having a place to put the poem and the story.
Do you think he put out Too Far to Walk because maybe it was too hard?
No, I think he put out Too Far to Walk because he realized ultimately he calls to The Thrill of the Chase his memoir. The only memoir part of The Thrill of the Chase I feel is My War for Me, where he got that off his chest. The rest of the stories are kind of interestingly assembled, but if you look at them, we've been through this book several times. You end up in that part in Temple, Texas, where there are several chapters in there that are a page. 2 pages or less. So it's hardly a memoir. But then you go to Too Far to Walk, and then the stories have grit and substance and and not Veritas, but Vino et Veritas. Yeah, Veritas. They're substantive, and so I always have felt like Too Far to Walk is closer to being a memoir than The Thrill of the Chase. It's got it's got chapters, it's got index, it's got all the things that you would do with a book that you had plenty of time to write, and now he had the comfort. He in that interview he says not all if his books don't come together easy, then they're extra hard, something like that. I mean,
Struggles.
and this one came together real easy for him, but he was working on it, within 2 weeks of it being published, which means it wasn't coming together easy. There were still things that had to be filled in, and it's, don't get me wrong, I think it's a great book, but it does what it's supposed to. It has us analyzing a poem and looking for the treasure, which is what it was supposed to do.
Something about the poem.
Yeah.
I believe that from start to finish, from the first clue to the last clue, you could recite the poem as you're going by the clues.
I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to say.
Like from start to finish, from Warm Water's Halt to the very end of the poem, I'm saying the time it would take you to recite it is how long it would take you to get from point A to B.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Whether that be in a car, or walking,
yeah,
which could be a mile or it could be a couple blocks.
Can you see that? And you can't. So I'm going to have to try that the next time I'm up in the mountains and see how far I get.
Well, good luck.
All right. Thanks for calling in, Jimmy. It was nice talking to you.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. You have a good evening.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oops, that's the wrong one. What?
You keep hitting the wrong buttons.
Yeah, I know. It's my fat fingers. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's we'll call it a night. Thank you for joining us tonight. We hope you had as much fun as we did, and we look forward to. Oh, we're supposed to do this, aren't we? And
thanks for being here, everybody, for all your super chat, your comments, your questions, your phone calls, your texts, your emails. We appreciate you. You make this show what it is, and that's why you shouldn't complain about it, because, it's all about you.
It's all about you.
And we will see you again next week. Of course, you'll look for my video to come out on Monday at 5. Is that
Monday
correct?
at 5 o'clock on one of the words that
I felt was important.
Yeah, was important. That's a good way to describe it.
And we'll have more pictures and more good stuff for you next week, and as well as a giveaway.
Another giveaway.
And for Gypsy's Kiss Humpday Hoedown, I'm the magical treasure princess, life coach to the rich and famous, Shelley Carney.
Thank you, Shelley Carney. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for all of you out there. Thanks for our mods helping us to maintain sanity in the room. Thanks for joining us tonight. We hope you had as much fun as we did. We look forward to seeing you next week. Take a look at the Member Vault. We have a great time, and there's much to be learned with these folks who have a great deal of knowledge and are willing to share it. So we look forward, if we don't see you in the Member Vault, we look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for joining us tonight.